What's the strongest thing you can think of? Diamonds? A truck? How about a mountain? Maybe even an ant that can lift 3 times its own body weight? Today I will focus on one of the strongest and most resilient people I know, my friend Audrey. I met Audrey the first week of college, and we've been friends ever since. And up until this point, there's not one person who I've seen go through so much and still take off running faster than Usain Bolt. After meeting Audrey, I quickly learned about the predicament that she was in with her current roommate. Her roommate had an emotional support dog which wasn't taken care of in a respectable manner. Audrey's roommate would leave mounds of dog food out, and the dog would then proceed to make a mess around the whole room. Combine that with the dog getting into Audrey's stuff, biting her, and making the room smell like the dog from all the way down the hall, this would have driven anyone into a mad frenzy, but not Audrey. She wasn't stressed. She was stressed, don't get that twisted. But she didn't lash out or harm the dog or the roommate. Instead, she remained calm and found other outlets where she could do her homework, hang out, and just be herself. She remained strong through the next month or so, getting good grades in her classes and being an active student in the CS department, all while having to deal with the dog and the roommate's madness. However, there came a point when enough was enough and she requested a transfer of room. Thank her stars because she was granted the transfer and was transferred to a different spot on the floor. With this breath of fresh air, both literally and figuratively, she was ready to succeed for the rest of the school year. Little did she know that her troubles were soon going to continue. The next roommate was quiet and secluded, which is fine, there are people like that, but the issue came when Audrey tried to reach out and communicate just in case any issues would come up. But every time she would, the roommate would scream at her and tell her to leave her alone. This was sort of weird and wouldn't really be an issue if things went smoothly, but as you probably had guessed, they didn't. Often the roommate would lash out at Audrey for no apparent reason, and she would tell her to shut up when Audrey hadn't even made a sound. This hostility continued and forced Audrey out of her own room, but nonetheless, she persisted, and she finished her first semester with a 3.59 GPA. She excelled in the marching band, excelled in her honors program, made lots of friends, and remained positive and strong throughout the first semester. However, her troubles were not done. The next semester continued much like the first, with the constant harassment and belittling, but Audrey was able to tune it out. The real problem when her roommate began to leave out food that would cause the room to smell worse than the Taco Bell dumpster. I would stop by to invite Audrey to hang out, and the smell never got any better, each time she opened the door. The smell, along with the yelling and the introduction of the roommate's boyfriend, who would hiss at Audrey, would have driven any person mad, and trying to succeed in life, let alone school, would have been a monumental task, but not for Audrey. Through it all, she stayed strong and continued to excel, earning a 3.1 GPA, excelled in her honors classes, and continued to smile and enjoy life even with the catastrophe of the living situation. Thankfully now, Audrey is much happier these days. After her first year at college, she moved out of the dorms and found an apartment where myself, her, and another friend of ours live. And watching her finally get to enjoy life without having to worry about dogs, or men trying to be cats, or food left out for too long is a joy to see. In conclusion, I shared this story to highlight her resilience through all of her tribulations and show that even the most wretched situations, that even through the most wretched situations, that she was not only able to survive, but bloom and grow like a flower. Even in this unfamiliar territory, which was truly impressive. And I hope that I will be able to handle any challenge that comes my way with the same grace as she did. Hopefully, you can pull a bit of inspiration from Audrey's story, and may it motivate you to keep pushing forward through the adversity that you may face. Because the room may look dark and smell awful now, but trust me, behind that door is a better life for you. Thank you.